Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, dear brothers and sisters, and welcome to our fourth clip of the month of Ramadan. In verse 159 of Surah Al-Imran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking to the Prophet about the importance of his good akhlaq. He says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم فبما رحمة من الله لنت لهم ولو كنت فظا غليظ القلب لانفضوا من حولك. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the Prophet that it is out of his mercy, out of his grace, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with this blessing. And that blessing is this, that he has a heart that is patient. He has an akhlaq that is very good. It is very attractive to the people around him. And that is why people have gathered around him. Because the continuation of the verse says, وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَظًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ. If you were rough and tough, if you were the type of person who was harsh, if you were the type of person who would have had bad akhlaq with people, لَنْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. People, they would have moved away from you. Now, of course, this is explaining something very, very important. And essentially what it's saying is that even if your message is the right message, even if the point that you're making is a very true point, even if you're 110% correct, at the end of the day, if you can't speak to people with the proper akhlaq, if you can't speak to people with the proper tone and in the proper manner, well then what you're saying is not going to have much of an effect. In fact, it'll have the opposite effect. لَنْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. People will move away from you. People will not gather around you, even if the cause is a noble cause, but it's being presented in such a way that is harsh and rough and tough and doesn't have the proper akhlaq in the person who's presenting it, then this is not going to go far. And it's interesting because these verses of the Quran are revealed within the context of the verses in Surah Al-Imran that have to do with the Battle of Badr. And the Battle of Badr, as you know, is probably the first biggest battle, or the first major battle that the Muslims had. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that if these people, Muhajirin and Ansar, are willing to come around you and they're willing to gather around you and be a part of your cause and fight for Islam, this is all because of the foundational akhlaq that you have. Otherwise, if it wasn't for your foundational akhlaq, these people, they would not be willing to come together to defend Islam. They would disperse from this cause. So not only is it talking about any time where you have something to say, you have to say it with the best of akhlaq. It's speaking specifically about critical times. That when it comes to critical times, like the Battle of Badr, people are coming together because they feel like they are comfortable around you. They feel like you have the proper akhlaq. Otherwise, they would have been moving away from you. So it's this idea of having good akhlaq is not just something that we say it's good to have. It is a foundational part of managing an Islamic society. And it plays a role, not just in the personal interactions that the Prophet is having. On a grand scale, it plays a role. Because people look at the Prophet and they see him as their leader and they expect this good akhlaq. Similarly, you and I, whether it's on a personal level or on a community level, we always have to remember this good akhlaq is essential. Even if what we're saying is correct and right and it's a noble cause, it's not going to carry much weight if it is said in a harsh way with a bad tone and with bad akhlaq.